Hello and welcome to our Pinnacle Group D preview. So we're going to be looking over our fantasy teams, looking over the event. Freddie will be bigging up complexity after they managed to qualify. And firstly, we're going to go over our group predictions from the last group. And no one got the first place or the sixth place correct.
I got the first and second place the wrong way around. I think that's unfair. I think that should count.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
no, I got last place correct. I put them last.
Oh, you did put them. I need to give you more points then.
Oh, banging!
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that can get changed then. So you are owed some more points.
Wait, who did I
Let's
say
go.
would come last?
You all put complexity.
We all put complexity.
You fake fanners. Let's go.
They only made it because Heroic won.
Yeah.
Let's have that stance.
Still played well though.
Yeah, they played a lot better than we
It
thought.
was the least bad. There you go.
They did play well.
Against some teams, I think the very first game they played, it was like who was the worst team, and then after that they actually started playing a lot better.
Yeah.
But it was mainly that first one where it was like, oh, are they actually gonna perform here, or is this just a bit of a fluke comeback on Nuke? But they seem better now. I mean, better than when they had Junior.
That's not hard.
Yeah, so they've got an AWPer in who's AWPing, and they look better. I think for me, I expected Heat to do a little bit better. I thought maybe the addition of Jax, they'd show a bit more. They just didn't. And other than that, Astralis, I placed them fourth, and Brandon placed them fourth. So I think it's a little bit expected. Everyone was a bit unnerving on them if they'd actually turn up at this event. And now the whole config ankle injury.
Yeah, they can't catch a break.
Which is, I'm just gonna put it out there though. If you have an ankle injury, I don't understand how that's stopping you that much from playing a video game.
He made a tweet about it. He's got
Did he?
surgery needed. The doctors have told him he can't sit upright for long periods of time. He has to lie down.
Yeah, he could JDM it.
You could JD on it.
I think one thing that hasn't been really said, and I think even like on the broadcast wasn't really mentioned a lot. I was listening. It's like if you look at this group, it's like it's actually that group was like if you look around the players, like Holzuk, that's his first ever pro league. And to be honest, the first time he's ever really played tier 1, like he's not a tier 1 AWPer. And I think that's not even like a mean thing to say, like he's just only ever played even tier 3 maybe. And then even like you look at the Mouse team as well, like that's still, even at Cologne, it was like that was Dexter's first stadium event, that was JDC Torzi's first stadium event. Now Exertion is even younger than all of them as well. So well, younger but like less experienced. So you've kind of got like, and then as well, Heat, like Tajoko, and even like Exercise and Afro aren't super experienced players. So you've got like a group of teams who have kind of just like been thrown together. And I think like it is by large, I would say like an easier group. And then fucking Ents just decided that they don't want to do anything, which was I think that is like we can all agree like what the fuck just happened there.
I think me and you both had Ents to top the group.
I thought they were gonna just like everyone. To
I
be
thought
honest.
that they would have the firepower to do it, but it just looked like there's still some communication issues coming into this team trying to gel together. So it's expected. I thought that they would show a better showing coming out of it with the talent they have on that team, but they haven't managed to make it work. I don't have any doubts that they will be able to make it work, but I just think this is an event they've come in too soon.
Yeah. Can I say one thing about Sun Pius?
Yeah, go for it.
So I like, again, not trying to be mean here, but like when I interviewed him, his English wasn't that great. Like he genuinely was like,
did you see his prank?
Can you repeat? Well, the one where he's like speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, but like as much as that is a joke, I think that will come. Like he was asking me like, oh, can you like say a little slow? Can you like repeat it? Like, if I'm doing that in an interview, what's he gonna be like in a team? Like I think that genuinely, like he's only played Spanish teams. Like I think that would be a bit of an issue.
I think that's where a lot of the comm issues come in with him probably
100%.
having to give info early, especially as an AWPer, and he's taking the space on the map when he's taking those longer angles. It's going to be tough for him to then communicate that.
He's a very aggro AWPer. He's a very aggy AWPer. And like he in Movi, he was like kind of like the second IGL as well.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we were saying last week. I said that there's a lot. You've gone from Ents having not many voices to you bring in Valda, you bring in some Pius. You're going to have loads of ideas all at once as well.
Did Valda used IGL at one stage? On North, was it?
Kind of, but he was always second calling, giving in ideas.
Yeah.
Like, he's a very vocal player.
But I think Mouse were a surprise. I think they started off very strong, and that's probably what carried them through the rest of the event. The momentum that they gained from that first
I
game.
expected this from Mouse, to be honest.
I mean, you had them
didn't.
quite high up, didn't
I'll
you?
give
Did
them
you have them
second?
Yeah.
I was like, it was either Mouse or Heroic take the group.
I think it was just the switch. For me, there wasn't enough time for the BMAS desertion switch.
Well, what's cool with that is that we saw Frozen take over some of BMAS's roles as well. So that rifling upgrade, well. he's going to be insane. I'm excited to see that.
And Brandon Stubble played well, and JDC I think surprised a lot of people with how well he actually ended up performing, because he is usually on the low end of the table in previous events, but he played really well, and you see the results that came with that. So I think Heroic 4 wins. Not really a surprise. I think people expected them to go through, and they went through. I think the main
that game versus Astralis was insane. That was so good to watch.
The derby, you gotta love a derby. But yeah, I think ENCE is the main shock. Astralis, I think people were just expecting them to either end up in 3rd or 4th. There wasn't really much else that was going to happen there. They either managed to struggle their way through, or they don't make it, and they didn't make it. But now we're at Group D, and again, I don't think it's as clear cut as we immediately think. There's a lot of question marks here. You got C9, who didn't have a great run at Cologne. They got beaten by Liquid and knocked out, and then Liquid are in this group. You got Furia, who is still struggling to find that form. Maybe it's their playstyle. EG, Eternal Fire, who have lost Maya recently, I believe, and Movistar, who lost Vampire. So is there a favourite from you guys for this group?
I think Cloud9 and then Furia.
Yeah.
It's a very close between the two of them.
I'd say Liquid, and I'm saying that with living in the past a bit and wanting Liquid to regain their form, but the showing that they had at Blast, we're in the jersey, but the showing that they had at Blast, as time goes on with this roster and Yukinda being in it, it gives me more and more hope. They're showing at Cologne, their first tournament, great, they made playoffs. And then they're showing at Blast, they qualified in the 1st to 3rd spot. Great. So here, I have no doubts that they're going to go through. Whether they're going to top it, I think that depends if C9 actually turn up, and if they want to decide to play at LAN.
C9 turn up in a while though.
Just before Cologne, no? At a
They won
Dallas.
Dallas.
They won Dallas.
Yeah, they won Dallas.
And they
wasn't that against
played,
ENCE with
really
Snacks?
well.
Was that?
Yeah, they played really, really well that tournament.
Yeah, I believe it was ENCE with a stand-in.
But then
it
ENCE
was.
also beat Furia.
Yeah, Fury have looked weak for quite a while now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm starting to rethink the whole Furia 3rd place. Can I change my picks?
You can change your picks.
I think Liquid comes 2nd here. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I've got Furia. No, sorry, I've got Cloud9, Liquid. I think for me, Cloud9, they did win Dallas, and also that run at Cologne, they're going to be hacked off about that. They're not going to be happy. They've had so much time just to kind of rethink everything, and they can practice. They've been practicing for months, I'd imagine. And that team is everyone has. You're correct. But they haven't played many officials at all.
One of the interesting things about the roster, though, is when I was looking this up, writing an article about it, they are one of the longest standing 5 stacks currently.
I think
they just haven't had a roster.
Tier 1.
They might be. They haven't had a roster change for the longest time. So, do you think that they're gonna give it till the major before, and if they have no results till then they make changes? Do you think this is the showing where they need to turn up? Otherwise, they make changes.
No idea.
I don't even know who they go for at this point.
Yeah, couldn't even tell you.
I don't think you changed this close to the major here.
Yeah, you don't.
I think you do the major and you see the results there. But if they don't make playoffs at the major, I think changes need to come. I don't want to push it as they didn't make Cologne playoffs, there needs to be a change. There doesn't really. I think they've still got a strong roster and they constantly make playoff spots, but they need to start winning tier 1 events, because
that's what they want to do. Yeah, they want to win.
But you do at IDAS, they beat FaZe, they beat Big.
Yeah.
They
were good. They played very well.
They won a tournament 2 months ago. So that's I'd say. I think the whole idea of a roster change just shouldn't even be I think looking at this that isn't even a question about roster change. I think that I don't think it's even up for a conversation, to be honest.
I just worry that when they've come into an event like Cologne and you lose to Liquid, who already look shaky and they've only changed one player, and they changed one player for like
Liquid played well at Cologne though.
They played well. I
well.
give them that. But Yakinda didn't even perform well. He probably had impact in terms of the calling and how he was counter-stratting, but he didn't have massive numbers. But they still came in and they beat Cloud9, who had looked dominant at the previous event. And I think that's what worries me, is that they looked weak so quickly after looking so strong, if that makes sense. That's where my concern is. It's like, how did they bottom out of Cologne so hard? Well, I mean, it wasn't that bad, but you know, after coming off a win against a team that have just had a change and haven't looked the best, that's where my concern comes in for C9. I like the roster and I like a lot of their players, and I think a lot of it does come down to whether Nafany is playing well. I think when he's getting those picks that you don't expect him to get, that's when they're winning games and they're performing really well. And Shiro is just an animal that is undisputed.
Yeah, I was going to say, and if Shiro just kill everyone.
Yeah, and Shiro just kills everyone. But Movistar is a team I don't expect to do much. EG as well and Eternal Fire. For me, it's those three at the bottom. Movistar is, I think they're going to struggle a lot without Samparis.
I've seen Movistar play with Martinez, and I've casted them. Martinez is a completely different AWPer to Samparis. He's so much more passive. He is, if I had to give it like a comparison, you've gone from like Brokey to Jame.
Right.
Like that's the level
it's
of
almost the same
I'd say I don't think it's like more than Brokey. Like for like Samparis, oh my god, that man is like ADHD, I swear.
But it's almost the same as the swap that Ents have had, because Hades was always a very passive AWPer.
Oh yeah, Hades is like
way around.
stupidly
Yeah, so it's
I
like
was talking to Finest about this recently, and they were saying oh like Hades is so passive, and I was just kind of I put the two dots together. I was like, Hades, Samparis, like you can't just that's such a thing that you can't just change, because you change your whole game plan.
Yeah, and Mobi have had to do that now.
I think as well, there's a deeper thing with Samparis. Like, it was weird. I talked to Alex and Samparis. Samparis said that he has all these roles in the team, and he's like, oh, like I have so much responsibility, and like I mid-round call, and like I'm still learning and stuff like that. And then Alex was like, oh, not really. So it's like, who, like, where does he, like, what is there a middle ground where, like, Samparis did have a very, very vocal voice, and he was, like, Samparis was basically saying he was, like, basically an IGL, and then Alex was like, no. So I've never quite figured out, like, obviously you can't tell, so like, I don't know.
It's going to be a struggle for Movistar, not only losing their best player, but losing, if this is true, like, their secondary IGL, it's tough. That is going to be extremely tough for them. And you look at Eternal Fire and EG. For anyone wondering, Brandon has got fish. So he's throwing out his fish. He's not just stood up and turned around from us. But yeah, Eternal Fire, they're a team that constantly turn up.
In Eternal Fire, so I think they're going to qualify.
They turn up to events, and they just seem to do that. They just turn up to events. Like, that's it. There's nothing really else about them. It's like they'll qualify for the RMR, they'll get to events, and it's like, right.
When I heard Woxic was IGLing, I was ready to give up on the team. And then they seem to come like middle of the pack anyway, and it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know what that team is or what they're doing.
It's decent matches for them with the likes of
kind of working.
They've actually done well recently.
It's good matchups that they have here for Movistar and EG, and maybe even Furia. I think the play styles are quite similar with Furia, but EG is a tough one to call as well.
I think they beat EG. Or if they switch it again.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Jesus.
He's also, but like, I think this is again because me and Brandon were talking about for the win on our cast. We were like, okay, Eternal Fire, like, I'm looking at the original results. They beat Sangal, beat Ecstatic, they beat Gamer Legion, Eyeballers, and Tropic. Sprout 1 win 4. Like, fairly fucking good teams, to be fair. However, they're like good tier 2 teams. Now can they make the jump to tier 1? I don't think they've got as big of a difficulty as, like, you looked at for the win. They had like big G2 phase outsiders. Eternal Fire have Cloud9, Liquid, Fury, which I don't think are on the same level. So I think EG will have an easier step and have more experience in a team like For the Win, and I think they've been playing better as well recently. They've just qualified
For context, Freddie watched For the Win play yesterday, and he since apologised to me because they actually played quite well.
Have they made a change
to be fair,
already?
they played some.
Yes,
Yeah.
they have. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
As in, like,
Yeah, KST. As far as I can tell, KST's not playing in the Champions of Champions tour at the moment. It's a guy called Saka.
Yes.
who's actually playing quite well.
Yeah, he was
good.
playing a lot better.
He's like their anchor player, and he's like actually like he had hands, which
Nice.
is
Brandon's got his vindication.
I think EG are quite lucky in this group that they've come up against Liquid and
The
Furia,
rest.
who are NA teams, and
It's all the blue logo teams.
it is all the blue logo teams. But I think they're going to be
Very
quite
good.
comfortable playing against these other NA teams. They're going to have a lot of experience. You know, they would have gone through the qualifiers against them. So they've got 2 teams in this group that they should be used to playing. And then the other 3 teams are C9, Movistar, and Eternal Fire. And Movistar and Eternal Fire, that's probably quite an even matchup, I'd say. I personally...
I
I
expect
put
Eternal Fire
Fire.
to win that.
yeah, same. I genuinely see Movi as like they're in the bin now, like they're done.
I think that EG aren't going to do as bad as we all expect.
I mean, like I've put them second last, which I genuinely think is it's just I think that's actually generous. I think second last is like what are they like that it's them or Eternal Fire, like those
Here's
two.
my
genuinely,
here's
I'm
my
like,
bold
I
prediction,
think
and
EG 's
since
more
I'm
than
up at
generous
15
second
points
last.
right now, I think I'm maybe only 2 ahead of Freddie.
You're
if I add it.
1 ahead of me. Yeah, you're 1 ahead of
One
me.
ahead. Okay, yeah. My bold prediction:
Mr. First place.
EG in 3rd place. I think Fury will be
Okay.
4th.
Sorry, EG 3rd place.
Liquid 1st. Cloud9
What?
2nd. EG 3rd. That's my prediction, and I will put that
Okay.
down as my prediction.
I had the bold prediction of like I thought you thought I put Complexity 3rd. I'm
Look
not
at
sure what I
Brandon's
did.
face.
I like what you're
I-
having, mate. Like, what's going on?
What I said last week, I'm going to have a bold prediction. I'm going to have something come out. This is it.
This
Charlotte.
EG team, they have someone
He's
who's their
Charlotte.
most experience is playing at like fucking Fragadelphia. That's his most
don't worry
experience
about
on
it.
LAN.
Neelan's going to
Don't
outcall
worry
every
about
single
it.
person in this group.
Breeze is washed. Automatic should retire. Cirque, I love him, but he's just a bit dumb.
Neelan has
Neelan's
more
like his hot takes.
tier 1 IGO experience than
We need a little
Woxic.
segment that's hot takes with Freddie. He's just telling people they shit the
He
game.
just rags on people, yeah.
Yeah, no, but Complexity are unreal. Complexity are such like they are such a sick team, and I like if I was there, I would have fucking put you guys on the ground, and they did well.
I said that they'd play well, and I said also if they wanted to play well, Fang would need to step up. Not only
And
did
he
he
did,
step up,
yeah.
Grim had an insane week
Because
at
Grim-
Pro League.
Holy shit, he is amazing. Mike is like so good.
He is.
He didn't prove that on Liquid, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, well, because positions and like all that jazz, you know. Yeah, that stuff.
CS
I think that
terminology,
there's
yeah.
like it's not a, there's not a great deal really to say. I think we just look at fantasy to be honest, because like this group is so up in the air. Like I'd say this group is more up in the air than Group C.
Really?
Well, it's like I
Yeah.
was saying before, I think you could just pull names out of a hat for this group and you could probably get the
Yeah.
table fairly right. But
I'm just really impressed. I actually think it was a complexity team. I like the only thing I'm scared about is you've got the whole worry. Well, it's okay. I want to say 2 things about complexity. The first thing, they've had like not much practice recently because before Blast, like firstly their coach was still in South Africa. Secondly, Johnny only came to the Complexity Studios like 4 days before they went to Blast. Hauzerk was in Mexico and they had really bad ping. Like he was literally playing 80 ping on like the major qualifiers, all the practice they were doing, and they've gone Blast. And then I think they've stayed in Europe, so they had practice in Europe for Pro League. But this is a team where like they've basically just got thrown together with Hauzerk and just been like, do good, and they actually have, which is like surprising. And I think they're only going to get better and better, hopefully.
I mean, you'd hope so. But
Yeah, I think it's a big like. Hopefully,
their
it's not a
wins,
honeymoon.
their wins were against the Charlotte Heat and Ents, and I think it is as much as they played well against Ents and they played well against Heat and they played well. I mean, Astralis was a bit of a who's worse matchup, but I don't think they've done poorly. I just think that they are quite favoured in the group that they got. They did get through because Heroic beat Astralis in that last game. That could have gone either way, and the whole last day was a complete coin flip on who was actually going to go through. But I do think they played well. I just think they are a
I feel
little
like
bit
Endpoint
fortunate.
got fully scammed to end up in Group A when
Yeah.
City's through in Group C.
I was gonna say, like, I'm just
And
looking
same
at
with,
like
Dig.
I'm just looking at like Group A and B, and then I just look at Group C and D, and I'm just like how is the quality of CS? And is it harsh to say like the quality of CS has just drastically just dropped?
Well,
like-
isn't it all done based on ESL's rankings?
I think
Which
It
is
is,
which is
that's
a
why
mess
it's-
anyway compared to HLTV.
Yeah, that's why there's
then like
two top-heavy
Ents is
groups.
because like I guess Ents shouldn't have like Ents shouldn't have come fifth, so they've kind of fucked that group over. But like you look at Group A and B, and like there's I'd say. Even now, I'd say for the win, okay, a bit unlucky. They actually they're the only team to lose. Not the
But
big
for the
game,
win in Group D, they'll qualify.
Yeah, maybe not qualify, but like they probably do decent.
They beat
Group
EG.
A-
They beat Eternal Fire.
Oh, the Eternal Fire.
Eternal Fire going all the way.
No, I think Eternal
Going all the way.
Eternal Fire are getting unnecessary slack because I think people forget how genuinely insane Xantares is. Like he is unreal,
Did
and
you
he's
not
never
see Diaz yesterday. Unreal.
he's just never. I think he went negative Brandon in the series, but like
A
I
Rostov
don't.
pop.
Yeah, a Rosdos was unreal, but like again, it's like they are farming tier.
We're getting sidetracked. We're getting
If we
sidetracked.
look
Like, they
at the
are fine
fantasy team, if we look at Freddy's first, he has no Eternal Fire players. So-
Well, so, yeah, like I don't like I'm not gonna be honest, like I don't believe in them. I just don't think that like it's all like economical and that.
Yeah,
but, like,
yeah,
I think
get you.
I think people forget how genuinely like nuts Antares is.
They
Like,
have a lot of good
so
talent
good.
on the
Why
team.
have you got Cirque? What's going on?
I think
Cirque
three
because
of
he
us
costs
have
one.
Cirque.
He costs 1,700 and what 1,000 wait
175,000.
1,175. Yeah,
Gotcha.
that one. And like his stats, like he doesn't have god awful stats. Like he has like a 1 rating. You whack on the AWP thing for him. Like I think it's just like it then means I can do that. It then means I can get the like the two what was it? But Axel and Liege, and then Nafni and Art. Like I have 0 left. Like I think, but economically it makes sense.
Yeah,
He won't shit the bed. He won't shit the bed. Which he won't. He won't get negative. He won't get negative 30.
Look, Freddie,
That's
when they
a whole
come third in the
hypothetical.
group, he's gonna be at 80 points. Okay, so we're all good. Me, you, and Emu, we have Cirque, and when they
What
come
put on?
third,
Did you put main AWP, right?
Yeah,
Or was
AWP on,
US
yeah,
Pro?
I put
yeah.
AWP on
Of
him.
course.
Yeah, it just makes sense. Oh no, I should put leader on
You've
him.
all picked Cirque.
Yeah, because like it just makes sense. He's so cheap.
Brandon's going to get gaslit into picking Cert.
No, I'm not picking Cirque.
he's just really cheap, and I think he's got a higher chance of performing than Nitro. I mean, if we look at back 2.5 years ago, Cirque was up there in contention for one of the most impactful AWPers.
Yeah, okay. Look,
I would have called him probably the best AWPer at one stage in the world, like, especially like that Outlaw stage when he was playing like 2016. I was like, oh my god, this guy's unreal. And then he continued that,
that's
and then
6 years
just
ago.
That was
Years
a long
and
time
years ago.
Yeah, like I think he's just slowly got worse and worse, and same with Breeze. Breeze and him have just got worse and worse.
I think it's less
and
to do
worse
with,
and
with
worse.
them as players, and it's more to do with the surrounding of them. Because that team has been in such a mess, I imagine it'd be very difficult to keep performing under new leadership and under new coaches. And when your players on your team are constantly switching in and out with the way it's doing in a 50-man roster, I don't envy the guy for what he's having to play in. And if they can find some form, in terms of a leadership role, then Cirque and Breeze, I think, could probably find their form again. And that's what I'm hoping for here. They've got some fairly even matchups with Movistar and Eternal Fire, and even the Furia one, I'd say could be close if Furia turn up like they've been looking recently.
Sorry.
So I think that Cirque is a solid pick for 175,000.
It just makes sense. Like I think it's just because it then means you can. I think the idea of what I was saying is like he's not going to completely shit the bed. So then you can bring it just allows me to then get the Axel and
Elite.
Axel and
I
Elige.
still think that Art is fully trolling.
I also have Art in my team.
Fully trolling.
He's cheap as well.
But
I
he's
was like,
He might be
like,
cheap, but the whole thing the analyst desk always says about him, they go, every preface of every Fury game, it's, oh, Art stats always look like shit, but he's making lots of space, guys, so it's okay. I think this is just a little stat.
The thing is, I believe that Cirque could end up with more points than Art, but
Yes, I do. I think Art is a nice big point sink. I don't think Art's a good pick.
I've got him in my team. I am gambling that Furia do turn up. So that I can spend my money elsewhere.
He's still on like a 0.9 or something, like because he's run out through.
Well, maybe I have to switch the new bro onto him.
Inferno, or he's run all the way up short onto.
I think your team's all right, Freddie. I like the fact that you've gone cheap and then you've gone for Elige and Axel. And Nafany is a good pickup as well.
Yeah.
The Nafany one, I'm just kind of like, I'm literally just like, oh, if he see like, oh, it was either Axel, it was Nafany or who's the other mediocre? Not Hobbit, the other
Inters?
one. Inters, yeah.
The thing is,
I was
Inters
like Nafany and Inters.
Inters is a worse performing player than Nafany, and if C9 are winning, it's usually because Nafany's up there at like third or second in the scoreboard, and they should be winning in this group. So I like the Nafany pick. Axel as well. Sometimes he's been performing above Shiro to carry them through series, so I like that pick. And Elige is just a monster, so I can't really say much else about Elige. I think the roles are good as well. Multi-frag on Elige is good. Entry on Art, he's probably going to be spent with
I was
10.
seeing like the Defender on Axel. Axel's got like 70% on that one. I was like, oh, okay, that works. It's like, yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah, that's nuts. He's got a 1.31 CT rating.
I was just like, yep, that's good enough for me.
That's completely understandable. The next team is Emus. So that's your Kinder, OC, Breeze, Hobbit, and Cirque.
Go team that one.
So you've got 2 EG players, 2 Liquid players, and
C9. I didn't pick
C9.
Axel because the last time I picked Axel, he licked the floor. So this time I've not picked him really, really well. I can't wait for it. Your Kinder, his stats might not be the best, but he's got his head screwed on.
See, I wanna just defend this point about your Kinder, because at Blast he had a 1.32 rating and was the second best performing player at the event. So this is why I've also taken your Kinder in my team.
Shit.
That's all I want to say about your Kinder. He didn't have a great showing at Cologne. He was pretty average, but I think he really stepped up and he was the player that got them through. He didn't have a great stage in the groups, but in the playoffs bracket or the last chance or the second last chance or the third, whatever the fuck it is with Blast that they do, he performed out of his mind and carried them through that stage. So your Kinder, I think, is solid.
No,
I think the problem, I think I've got in my head that like, I've just got in my head that like he's not a fragger, and now you're showing me stats. I'm like, maybe he is a fragger.
I think it's because you two were at you two were away when Blast was playing, right? You were.
I have Cologne in my head.
Cologne, he played like, very mediocre. Like
he had like 0.97. Yeah, I think I didn't watch any of Blast like at all. I don't really know what happened at all at Blast, to be honest. I was just away for all of it.
He had some solid games at Blast. He was very, very impactful.
Fuck, maybe I should pick your Kinder actually. I'm like, that's actually a solid pick.
So you're locked in. No, I like the OC pick.
I love the OC pick actually.
I think
really
OC,
like
his stats going to be nice up there. I think he's a decent AWPer, but I can't give him main AWP, so I've got to give that to my main man Cirque because he's going to pop off because he's the best. I didn't even believe that when I said it. Multi-fragger Breeze. I think I'm just trolling at this point. And I'll be on the support because I think that one's actually sensible.
I don't understand. I get why you've got Cirque on main AWP, but you have OC in the team.
I am gambling on, as Freddie said, a lot of 2020 copium and hopium. I've got a whole line of copium on my desk, and I'm not.
Mate,
snort the whole thing. I'm ready to go.
You're on 2019, 2018 copium for Cirque. It's like
It's been a few years.
This is such an interesting team.
I've got my
interesting spotlight. I think it's shite.
Let me check stats for him like during years.
I've got my police box ready. I'm going to go back in time. I'm grabbing. That's not how it works, is it? I've never watched Doctor Who.
No, that is how it works.
Yeah, so 20. It was like 2020.
2018 Cirque.
It's before COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was NRG days where he was unreal. When it was like during the it was like it was like during that major when he was
even played Counter-Strike. It's that long ago.
I actually okay. 1 second, bear with. This is cool. You guys continue talking about.
Didn't EG pay NRG 3 million for that team? By the way,
they won though with EG. I think NRG was always their like 4th, 3rd place placements. I think in EG they actually won events.
When Tarek wasn't going. look at me, I'm a Valorant streamer, and actually played a reasonable game.
As he pulls out the Tarek jersey.
So the day I bought this, I bought it, and an hour later they moved to EG. Literally within the hour. So it's like oh, my headphones are coming out. Apparently NRG, like as an organization, every time a team makes the major, they release like these jerseys. So like they wear them at the major. I don't know if you remember like playoffs, like at the playoffs and stuff. So I bought them, and like they moved literally as I bought it, and I was like, sick.
Well, at least you got a nice jersey that's somewhat
cool.
limited.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's sick.
I should have got Circle on the back. Fuck.
Is there
Should have known.
anything else you want to talk about for your team, Emu, or should we move on?
I'm interested about the Hobbit pick. I don't know if that's strong or not.
Hobbit's a
I can't
great
tell.
pick.
I can't tell.
I'll defend this with my life because he's in my team.
And flashbangs.
I think Hobbit was at Cologne, the second highest rated player on C9. I could be wrong
he
there.
He was at Cologne, yeah.
He was at Cologne.
He was there. He was there.
He was there. He turned up. He was there.
He existed.
So was I.
I actually do want to check
Yo,
this.
Brandon, so was I.
Uh,
Next time we should share a
the
room.
Cologne.
We did.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we'll check it another time. But I believe he was up there. He performed surprisingly well. So
Surprisingly well. He's a major MVP, is he not?
Hobbit.
Is he the major
He
MVP?
got the MVP. I can't
Hobbit's
remember.
got a major MVP.
It's one of them
Oh,
players,
that's-
isn't it? From,
no, he's
from the
got-
Gambia
very
roster.
wrong. Which one? No,
He-
it was, that was Adren, wasn't it? Was it? Oh, God, I don't
Yeah. I
Okay,
think
it wasn't.
might have-
It wasn't at Cologne he
Yeah,
played
it
well.
was a
I'm just
trend. It was
looking.
a-
Ignore
it was a
know. He's
everything
got
I've
a
said
major
about
trophy
Cologne.
under his belt. Of course he's playing well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Dren because he had a 1.26 rating across that major. You can have that.
Pretty disgusting.
Yeah, you can have that.
Uh,
I genuinely forgot they won a major.
Easy to do.
Yeah, it was just one of those majors where it's like, oh, they beat Immortals in the final, who, to be fair, are unreal. It's just every single one of those players have dropped off since. So it's just like,
I
same
was
with Gambit.
surprised because Immortals beat Virtus Plough.
just looking at
Yeah.
Hobbit's stats, he
Quite decisively,
from
yeah.
the last 6 months, he played really well in Pro League Season 15 with 1.25 rating. Had the same rating in the RMR. They didn't do well at the major at a 0.95. Dallas, he had a 107. Rubet, he had a 103 and they came fourth there. And then at Cologne, he had a 0.93. So when they do win, he seems to play well. So,
Yeah.
I
and
don't expect them to struggle in this group, but I expect them to come second. But
yeah, I don't expect him to struggle. I think he will play well. I'll do my team next. So I've got Naf, Yakinda, Cirque, Hobbit, and Art. So I was also going to go with the OC Yakinda double pick, but I just didn't see a viable option for spending my extra 8,000 on another player over Art. I don't think there was that many players at the 196 range. They were all a little bit over. This group's kind of tough money-wise. I am honestly unsure if OC will play better than Naf. There's a chance he will, just as the AWPer, but I'm gonna gamble that Naf does have an insane tournament like he sometimes does, and he is just top of the table even if they lose.
any naffers? Any naffers?
Big
I've
Naf.
interviewed
though.
him.
What, Naf?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
He was, cause you know how he's like really, like everyone's like, oh, he's a sloth.
Yeah, he's...
He was so talkative. Like literally, like I was just like, oh, it's gonna be such a shit interview. Like this is gonna be awful. Really talkative, which is like just saying random stuff. I was like, oh my god, like I didn't even answer that, but thank you for saying that. That was cool.
I'm very jealous. Naf is.
And then
up
no, but then
there,
the thing
one
is
of my
like,
favourite
as soon as I
players.
finished interviewing him, I saw him sit down and look like a sloth, and I was like,
That's all his
strange.
energy used for the day.
yeah,
in that one
like he
interview.
put like a massive hoodie on, like XXXL, puts the hoodie up and just sits down like this. And I'm like, holy shit, that guy literally went from like 100% to just 0.
I think, yeah, the Kinder pick already defended. The Hobbit pick, he performs when they play well. Cirque's good for money. If they do well, he might turn up. I don't know, he'll be there. And Art is another gamble. I put him on the
might hit
entry
something.
frag. He should gain points from the entry. Even if he has a bad rating, he should just be getting stupid first picks. And I'll probably give him the knife booster against EG or something because he's likely to knife someone. He's just one of those players. I think you can farm a lot of the boosters.
I'll do that as well.
Yeah, the knife points on. I can give him some decent boosters that should try and pull him back to 0 if he goes under.
I think Art does a good job at what he does. I just don't think what he does is represented very well statistically.
Well, I'd like to say he does well at what he does, but they had no results recently, so it's also difficult to say that.
Yeah, I was going to say Brandon's got saved.
So you're not only are you saying, right, that he's playing a role he's not going to do statistically well at, you're also saying he's not doing it very well, and then you're picking him for the fantasy team. Can you please defend that?
It was either this, or I take the likes of Breeze, a Movistar Riders player, or an Eternal Fire player.
Multi-fragger Breeze.
I couldn't get a single Liquid player, and I couldn't afford them anyway, even if I wanted to, which I would have loved to have. I'd love to have Nafia, Kinder, OC, and Delige. That team would be, and then I'll chuck in anyone else. It doesn't matter. Yuri. I'd love to have Yuri in the team, but I can't afford him. And I didn't want to pick up an Eternal Fire player or a Movistar player. I don't believe that any of them are going to have significant numbers. And I think
that's why I picked Eternal Fire, because I don't believe in them at all. And every team I've not believed in so far has, for some reason, played some of the best CS I've seen them play in the last 3 or 4 tournaments. So
I've been the difference. Like for me, it's the other way around. Like I've believed in them and they've kind of done well.
Mine's not. I mean, any team I like seems to play badly. Nip bottomed out. Ents
IP.
bottomed out.
IP.
He bottomed out of Group B that I like.
I'm just glad that
no
for
one
once... I'm just glad that as a Vitality fanboy, for once, they've actually performed.
All it took was them to get rid of all their French players and no longer have a French core. How about that? It only took them to have a European core. Wait, can you even count it as a European core? Because it's Israel.
It's European on HLTV. I don't know about the...
Yeah, because I think Eurovision, we have Israel in it, but I don't actually think they count. So that's a conversation for another time and probably not one we want to get into. But
I need to go soon as well.
So yeah, they took out their two players they took out the French players and they done well. And then Brandon's team. He's got Yakinda.
Out the bag.
He's got Yakinda, Hobbit,
Such a chaotic,
Safe, Keskarate, and Nitro. The Nitro pick is confusing.
The Nitro pick because he's cheap, and I think Liquid will win games.
Yeah, but he never performs.
Don't talk away.
He's talking to his fish tank, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, Nitro just never performs. Is my only thing there.
But he was cheap, and I think Liquid will win games. So I gave him the leader role.
I'd still pick Cirque.
I prefer it over an art pick.
Keskarate I like, Hobbit I like, Yakinda I like. Safe is a little bit questionable for me.
I don't quite understand that one.
The what one?
The safe pick.
I think Fury are going to do well in this group, and I think he's a better AWPer than Cirque.
How much more was he than Cirque, do you know?
Quite a bit.
Get
I
in
can
my net,
check.
please.
So Cirque was 175, Safe was 191.
That is a
So
considerable lot of money to spend.
Yeah, so for me, I would have to if I had him in the team, I wouldn't be able to have anyone near the level of either Axel or Leash. I'd have to replace one of those two drastically, for instance.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that this is probably the weakest looking team, and now you're probably winning.
I was gonna say, well, watch him win now as well.
Yeah, because I don't know. The double Fury pick is Keskarate is good, but he's also fallen off a lot since they've stopped winning, and yeah, it's a tough one. He's at a good price. I think he was 205, but it's still questionable for me. He's one of the better Fury players to take, and he's good money.
Brandon's making a good decision. He's getting in with the Brazilians, yes.
Oh, but yeah, Brazilian. Like I love Brazilians. Yes, they're so much fun just to talk to.
Okay. This is how Fury look when they play.
I like this. I'm just sitting here like finishing off my like just my team, and I'm just watching in the background.
This crazy man with his fish.
Whatever this is.
I can only see one of them.
Oh, that's not very good.
All right, well, we'll wrap it there. I think overall, no disrespect intended, Brandon has the weakest team of the group, and I like Freddie's team quite a lot with the
was
Axel and the
surprised at
Leash
mine.
pick. I think you've taken some picks there that I didn't consider when I was trying to spend my money, and I just kind of focused heavily on getting 2 liquid players.
I think I was
two.
I was 2C9. I was like 2C9 and then C1 and then Circ, and I was like, what can I do with the rest of that then?
I think
And
C9
then
is
I
safe
saw-
though. C9 is a very safe group of players to pick.
Nathany could shit the bed. That's the only worry.
But if they
Nathany
win,
could
he
do
should
bad.
play well. So
Yeah, well, if I fucking hope so.
yeah, and you got the leader on him, so yeah, we can hope for the best there. But that has been our Group D preview. Fish Tank as well. And yeah, this is our teams. If you want to join, there'll be a link in the description. And yes, thank you for watching.